Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric, your writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2014 movie titled Edge of Tomorrow. Now, Edge of Tomorrow is a sci-fi action military thriller that runs for an hour and 53 minutes long. It is directed by Doug Liman and produced by Erwin Stoff, Tom Lasalle, Jeffrey Silver, Gregory Jacobs, Jason Hoff. It is written by Christopher McQuarrie and the Butterworth brothers of Jez and John Henry Butterworth. It is based on the novel All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. The score was done by Christoph Beck. The photography was done by Dion Beebe. And the editing was done by James Herbert and Laura Jennings. And it stars Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Brendan Gleeson, Bill Paxton, Kit Gurry, and Noah Taylor. Now, what did I think of this movie? It would be quite insincere to label Edge of Tomorrow one of the best video game adaptations ever produced, because it actually evolved from a Japanese graphic novel, All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. But you will be mesmerized by the movie's artistic integrity, the encapsulating structure, and the subliminal function and effect. But the source material is what makes this film all the more poignant. The story stars Tom Cruise as Major William Cage, a military officer from the future, where our entire planet has waged war against the alien invasion. The group of aliens are known as mimics. There's also another smaller, lesser-known alien group known as the Alphas, and I think there's also the far superior group known as the Omega. And they have pretty much dominated most of Europe. Not much of a fighter, Major Cage is an awkward PR guy whose patriotic contributions come in the form of less interesting things like promoting how great the military life really is and recruiting new soldiers as replacements to those who have been killed in combat. So he never really gets to see much of the action because he's practically pretty much like a commanding officer, so to speak. When he rebuffs at General Brigham, played by Brendan Gleeson's command to take charge in the front lines, he gets badly demoted to private with a meager chance of surviving the amphibious takeover in northern France. A strange thing happens at Omaha Beach. By the way, when I think about this movie, sometimes it has a little bit of World War II references going on at it, in which the mimics are practically just alien caricatures of the Nazis when they invaded France in 1944. So, in a way, there is some similar ironies to this story and the actual events of World War II. Imagine that. That really just goes to show you how intelligent this kind of sci-fi movie is. And saying sci-fi movies synonymous with intelligence, that certainly is a dime a dozen. But on we go with the story. A strange thing happened on Omaha Beach. The mimics go on a horrifying and rather destructive ambush as they attack human forces whose weaker arsenal of weapons, consisting of a mechanized bodysuit, is just not enough to take down these mimics and their powerful ways of destruction. So Cage manages to take down another alien force, a lesser known alien force known as an Alpha, but gets their blood dripping on him and whenever he dies, he kind of like relives the events that happened before that, and it kind of sort of has a feeling of Groundhog Day meets Saving Private Ryan, in which Cage must repeat all his steps over and over again until he can successfully turn the tables around in fighting this almost impossible, unbeatable war. Sure, it may have the rightful tools needed for another monotonous, mindless, money-swindling action flick, but I was actually quite surprised that Edge of Tomorrow is nothing like that at all. The fighting scenes are complemented nicely with some much-needed humor in the dialogue, with the mysteries genre reserved in its place. But the film really actually starts to take off as Cage seeks assistance from a tough veteran named Sergeant Rita Vitrasky, played by Emily Blunt, with whom had experienced the same thing William Cage did. She also was soaked with alpha blood, which caused her to relive the events that led to her death in order to regain her confidence to take down. It was claimed that she took down like 300 mimics in just single-handedly without really gaining any kind of assistance whatsoever. So she's actually speaking from experience, and she eventually toughens up Cage from a wimpy recruit to a hard-nosed fighter who might even successfully bring this alien invasion to a close with absolutely no assistance. She'll even go so far as to deliver tough love in him in the worst ways possible whenever he's succumbing to grievous bodily harm during the process. She even probably encourages him to kill himself and resurrect, kill and resurrect, kill and resurrect until he has enough strength, enough confidence, and enough capabilities to bring down this alien invasion and put a disclosure to this almost unbeatable, impossible war. So with every day passes, Cage just keeps getting stronger, smarter, and more powerful enough to send these mimics packing, or let alone being destroyed. Of course, for a good story to work, it should go beyond just a solid checklist. Not to say that the script by Christopher McQuarrie and the Butterworth brothers complements to the endless exciting action, but one of the big weaknesses about Edge of Tomorrow is that it is still very formulaic, and not only does it feel like Groundhog Day or another film with similar formula like Source Code, so it's not really strong in originality. There's a lot of recycled elements to this movie from previous other films that seem to come together. It has some originality in being that it has these elements implemented into the movie, but the ending is still kind of like familiar territory. On the plus side though, Doug Liman manages to use his visual mastery effectively without trying to hold back the tension this movie provides, and uses proper manipulative quirks whenever the scenes start to repeat itself. Now for a PG-13 movie, there's a plethora of off-screen violence. The video game version of this movie sees our heroes sporting great engine. In the movie, it provides a stimulating take on a time-jumping military man, and never really manages to change the story around. There's no, like cutting and editing. It really stays true to the graphic novel, and I gotta give a hats off to both Doug Liman and Christopher McQuarrie and the Butterworth brothers for making sure that's possible. I have to say the cinematography was quite excellently done, and I also thought that the pacing was also pretty good too, as it tries to refrain from being monotonous. And even though, yes, I know it's kind of like annoying that Major Cage has to die, start over again, until he can finally have enough strength, smarts, and confidence to bring down the mimics and the rest of the other alien forces from total annihilation. So in other words, he just keeps getting better and better every day until he almost becomes just like Emily Blunt's character, a one-person army ready to take down a whole slew of mimics till finally they are destroyed and the Earth can come back as one solid union. Everybody is, practically almost invited back into their respective country, and that Europe is restored to the way it was before the alien invasion. And I really give strong kudos to them. The performances were also quite phenomenal. Tom Cruise stepping out of typecast to play kind of a more wimpy character shows just how versatile he is. So whether you like him or whether you don't like him, I have to give a lot of respect to Tom Cruise for playing out this role quite nicely. Emily Blunt, she definitely is really conveying lots of versatility to her acting performances. One minute we see her singing happy tunes in the movie Into the Woods, and next thing you know she's kicking alien ass. So it just goes to show you just how diverse, how versatile Emily Blunt's performance is in this movie. She's phenomenal. Excellent support comes from Brendan Gleeson and Bill Paxton, playing military officials, and they seem to also come across as being quite believable. And this movie too, you get really involved in the story, because the story is provocative. The action scenes are well choreographed, and if you could combine these two elements together, it makes up for one really hell of a remarkable action thriller. If I was to give this movie a scale out of 10, I would definitely give it a 7. You gotta see this movie. This is actually the way how blockbusters are supposed to be. Fun, exciting, provocative, and does not insult your intelligence. Well, I guess this kind of ends my writer review. Thank you all in for listening. If you want to write back to me, please feel free to do so. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you may feel free to do so. And if you wish to leave a comment, be kind, be courteous, and leave out all the rudeness. Okay? There's no room for rudeness on my channel. It's nice to be respected, but it's... Wait a minute. It's nice to be respected, but it's also nice... I don't know. I know there was a quote about... well, just basically, okay, look, to put it in a nutshell, if you have nothing nice to say about me or anybody else, don't say anything at all. And if you want to be rude to me, be rude someplace else. I don't tolerate that. There's no room for rudeness on my page. You don't like the things I say, and you don't... If you want to be rude to me, don't waste your time, don't waste my time, go someplace else, and take your rudeness elsewhere. This is a rude-free page. Either respect me, or don't come to my page at all. That's all. That is all I've got to say. But until then, next time I'll be back once again with another review. Until next time, I'll be This is Eric Carrot Rider saying take care of yourself, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.